did you guys see the stream, the other stream? Right now, Brian Holinka and Greg Street are on another live stream. You know, who are they with right now?
There it is. They're calling us. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's join. Doing good. I think he's joining. Oh,
Hello?
there he is.
Hello?
Are we, hey, how's it going? Swifty, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Are we live right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can read the exit if you want.
Oh, hi world.
Hello.
Let me add Brian and Greg real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
You probably don't want to talk to me for a half hour. All right, gentlemen. I bring to you Senior PvP Designer Brian Holinka and Lead Systems Designer Greg Street.
Wow. I can't believe
Hey,
I'm in a call with you guys.
I can't believe I'm going to call with you.
Wow. It is very awesome to meet you guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say on the live stream, hello everyone and welcome to the live stream event. Hodded and I are gonna host this event, and we have two special guests. It's Brian Holinka, World of Warcraft lead systems designer, and Greg Street, Ghostcrawler, and he is World of Warcraft lead system designer. Right? Did I get that right?
Close enough.
Almost.
No! I'm Brian Holinka's World World of Warcraft lead PvP designer. Right, Greg?
Let's just start over. I don't know what's going on.
Man, you guys make me nervous.
Take a deep breath.
All right, Brian Holinka, World of Warcraft lead PvP designer. Greg Street, Ghostcrawler, and he's World of Warcraft lead systems designer.
There you go.
That's good.
There you go.
We'll take it.
All right.
We'll stay now.
Wow. It's very nice to meet you, and thank you very much for letting us interview you.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Anytime. Glad to do it.
All right, I just wanted to say, I've been playing World of Warcraft since PVC, and it's pretty much all my content on YouTube is based on World of Warcraft, and I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for this amazing game, and I want to thank you guys personally.
Well, no problem. I want to thank you for going out there and having fun with the game. I was just saying to some people before how one of the things I enjoy about both you and Hodded is that you're having fun, which is refreshing because a lot of times people are so focused in the community about like this is wrong and buff my class or my class is broken and I'm getting benched. So it's fun, and I think that's why people are drawn to you guys is you're enjoying yourselves, and they can see that and they appreciate that, and they want to be a part of that. So
awesome. Hodded and I are going to be alternating questions, so I was going to let Hodded get started.
All right. I just want to say like Swifty said, it's really nice talking to you guys outside of Twitter. So my first question would be, how has social media impacted or rather influenced your decisions in the balance in WoW, and has it had any effect in them? And since I know you guys are very active on Twitter, for example, which I think it's great.
Well, I'm kind of new to it, but I know Greg's been doing it a lot of times. He probably has a lot of great insights on how that's been affecting things.
I mean, it's a really useful tool for us to kind of understand what the player concerns are out there, and what are the things that we hear over and over again. What are the things that we've never heard before, but we say, "Wow, that's actually a really good point. We should discuss that." I think there's often a perception that if people yell loud enough, they can get their class buffed or nerfed. It really doesn't work like that, but it is a great way for us to stay in tune with what players are saying out there. I mean, I play WoW all the time, but I play with my group of friends on my realm, and I don't necessarily know what they're talking about in the EU or Latin America or Asia, so it's great to get feedback and be like, wow, maybe Shaman are a problem. People are really talking a lot about Shaman. We should look into that some more.
Yeah, and I think also, part of it is just providing players access. I think gets them more excited about the game too. So I think that, there are people who kind of want to stay connected to the game all the time, and I really enjoy Twitter far more than I enjoy forums. It's nice to be able to interact with more people. Forums can be very challenging just because of the amount of information you have to go through. So I've enjoyed Twitter greatly.
Okay. Awesome.
That's awesome. By the way, I have their Twitters posted above if you guys want to check them out at Ghostcrawler and at Holinka. All right. My question, okay, I got my question. One of these questions is from social media, but this is a question that's dear to my heart. It says, will there be mounted combat or aerial combat in WoW? I get dismounted all the time, and I want to be able to fight back.
Have you gotten the turtle shell?
No, I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started camping that guy. That's a lot of fun, actually, too. It's definitely one of those world PvP things. It'll be interesting, the people who really love world PvP to see their reaction to the Timeless Isle and like the bloody coins and the kind of like transforming into a third faction that can go on there. I think there's been some experiments with mounted combat. In terms of like what happened in Argent Crusade, that was like an attempt to try and do something, that was on a mount but different, but maybe didn't really deliver on what people were hoping for. I think playing other games, like playing games with underwater combat, or I kind of feel like underwater combat is almost what flying combat would be. And I don't know if it's that great, to be honest.
It's a little hard, I know.
So that one I'm very skeptical about.
I don't know if I appreciate underwater combat.
Yeah. And if you think about, like, in a way, flying mounts have had a very kind of profound impact on world PvP, and maybe not a great one. I don't know if, in hindsight, knowing what flying mounts would do to the game, if like we'd want to do it again, but they're definitely here to stay. You can't take that away now. But you could see the difference, I think. But in terms of like mounted combat with like your current set of spells and things, it almost would just be like everybody moves twice as fast, and that's how the game plays. So it could be challenging and interesting. I don't know. It might be something to experiment with and just see if we like it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Hodded?
We lost Hodded!
No! Hodded!
Girls.
Oh.
Oh my god. There's going to be a whole new ladder system in 5.4. What's the idea behind it to make the ladders more competitive, and how will be the rewards distributed? I know you mentioned that I think that top 1% will obtain rank 1, but what about the other titles such as Gladiator, Duelist, Rival, Challenger? How will that be like with the new ladder system?
Well, it'll be okay. So the motivations for that were a couple-fold. One, we felt like arena teams had kind of become this barrier to arenas that we didn't really like. You don't have dungeon teams. You don't have challenge mode teams. Things that say you can only go and do this activity with these very specific people, and it's kind of nice to like have your own rating, and it kind of stays permanent. So one of the things was just making it easier to get into arenas with anybody at any time. So I think that's a really big plus. Cross Realm was just more of, we have the technology that we could do it. So there's really nothing stopping us from doing it now. And it'll, I think, increase the amount of competition. And one thing I don't know if anybody really liked, I'm sure there are a few people that liked it, was this like, every season, let's scatter to the different, our different little tiny nooks and crannies where we can get Gladiator, and then we'll all come back to Tichondrius later. It's just kind of, that's weird. Yes. And I think it's better that we just, have one pool and everybody's, evaluated against the same competition. And that'll be a good thing. I think it'll help queue times. I don't know. I don't know how much it'll help queue times at the top end, to be honest, because I think most of the people who are playing at the high end are already willing to be on the very busy servers, so and in very crowded top competitive battle groups. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if it'll help there or not. I'm not quite sure, but certainly hoping that that plus being able to jump into arenas with cross realm groups, I'm hoping it's a big boon to arena participation.
Okay, what about the titles? The
percentages? So it'll be the same percentages that are done now. Rank 1 was always just the top team, but we just said, okay, it'll be the top 1% because that's 0.1% because that's roughly the percent of people that would get it each season. Otherwise, the percentages are the exact same as they were. I think it might even be a little more generous than what we used to have. depending on the math of it all. But it just felt like we're making this really massive change with one battle group and no teams and stuff. So we wanted to be fairly conservative and not change too much. So that's why the percentages are staying the same.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
I had a quick question. Alex Skater 5027 on the stream is asking, what classes do you guys play?
We try not to talk about that.
Really?
Because as you can imagine, like, we have a very challenging job talking about the different classes. And if you were to say, like, if I were to hypothetically, I'm not even going to pick a WoW class. I'm going to say, if I were to say I play Demon Hunter, then now the focus becomes, Brian plays Demon Hunter, and let's talk about your bias towards Demon Hunters all the time, rather than talking about real imbalances. So all I could tell you is that I am an alcoholic. I have played a lot of classes and a lot of specs. And I greatly enjoy when PTRs and Arena Tournament Realms come around because it gives me the opportunity to try specs out that I haven't before. So,
all right.
Demon Hunters are overpowered.
Yeah.
I had another question. This goes on the previous question. How did it ask? Will there be solo arenas or solo queue rated battlegrounds? Is a question / suggestion.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we've done some experiments, right, with in this activity in other parts of the game, like LFR and LFD, and even Random Battlegrounds is this way. And I do see some merits to a single queue for those things, but we want to do it in the right way because we worry about it becoming like this very disposable, like, group of people that you encounter all the time. You go into a random battleground, you don't really form great connections with those people. Mm-hmm. They're just there for you to get they're another tool for you to get the reward you want. And when they don't do what you want, sometimes people act in a nasty way because there's no repercussion to them acting that way. So we definitely, in terms of the rated stuff, I would rather we focused on helping you find other people who want to do that activity. Yeah. But that being said, I definitely think there is room for the player who's honor capped and wants some form of higher level of play, like as a solo queue. Like, this is not a promise at all. We've bounced around the idea of what if we had something called heroic battlegrounds, and it was something for people who are very topped out in honor gear or whatnot, and
no 1v1 arenas with statistics and ladders.
Am I on the call still?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
I had some crazy thing. 1v1 arena. I feel like it would basically draw all kinds of the wrong
it's crazy.
Solo queuing for arena into a 3v3 bracket is something I think maybe we could do.
Okay.
Or a 2v2. But I think as soon as we've been joking about this with Proving Grounds that we actually now we added Proving Grounds to the game. People are going to go in the Proving Grounds and be like, assassination rogues are have the lowest representation of gold in Proving Grounds. You need to buff them. Or that was honestly a thing that we thought with Rated Battlegrounds, that we were going to be like, hey, we're going to have this thing that's a lot more tolerant of imbalances, and more classes are going to have a space. But in the end, we just have people complaining about a whole other bracket in terms of balances. There are Frost Death Knights who constantly complain about how good they are in arenas, but they're a must-have class in Rated Battlegrounds at the high end. So there's a real challenge there. As soon as we were to run 1v1 arena, I understand. I would like to see us do a little bit more to support dueling. I really love dueling as a community building thing. I think there's these little subcultures of people who all know each other from dueling, and I think that's really awesome. So I think we've had a task on the books for a very long time to reset cooldowns on duels.
Yes,
but
that is awesome.
So it comes up constantly, and but how's the right way to do it, right? How would we do it so it's not exploitable? That you're raiding and you're not hold on, I'm going to port the Stormwind so I can duel someone and reset my cooldowns and stuff like that. So Yeah, I knew you would be excited as soon as I said it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
No promises. Hashtag no promises. But anyways, I like dueling for that reason, but tying rewards to dueling seems really dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hot it?
I can see that. So, this season, the only difference between normal gear and 2200 gear was the fact that you got some cosmetic items, the tabard, the cloak, and maybe a different color in gear. Are you guys planning on adding rating requirement onto elite weapons again, or are you planning on adding just more cosmetic items so we can buy off the PvP vendors once we get a higher rating?
I think so. It's twofold. One, we've talked about whether a recolor of gear is really that exciting. Or exciting enough as something to shoot for. So that's a question we've definitely asked ourselves. The danger on giving higher eye level on the gear is that it creates this gap we just didn't like. It's a very have-not situation where, at 2200 you're more powerful and it's really hard to get past 2200. And,
exactly.
So we didn't really like that. And we like these cosmetic solutions. We think we need more of them. We think we need more things, more cool things, like that. Some random ideas were like that owned flag that came down on somebody you killed. Really trying to play up that a little bit. There's just definitely and people can always tweet cool ideas they have, but generally mounts are also a tricky thing too because they're expensive to make. So it's really tough to just say, oh, just give us a mount, because it's, there's mounts, we could get another suit of armor for, making a mount. So it's a challenge. But yeah, want more cool stuff tied to ratings. The only tricky thing is like, I've seen the suggestion of like, well, give wrists at 1500 and, boots at 1600 and chest piece at 1700. But like, does anybody really want to wear green belt and blue shoulders? Like, you kind of want it all. So that's why we put it all at one rating.
It has to match.
Right. I'd love to add on to that, too, what Brian is saying about the item level. We're pretty happy with the way the item level of the PvP gear worked for PvP, in that someone who's just trying to get in or someone who rerolls an alt doesn't have this gigantic, mountain to climb before they feel like they can really compete again. But we don't really like yet the way the PvP gear compares to the PvE gear. We feel like even though organized PvP is more important to us than world PvP, we do agree that it has hurt world PvP. And we also just don't like the message it sends to PvP players that your item level is lower than the raiders. Even if you're the best PvP player in the world, it just makes you feel like you're a second-class citizen if your item level is lower. So we're trying to come up with a tweak to the system in the future to where we don't have the crossover problem between PvP gear and PvE gear, but you still feel like once you earn the best gear in PvP, it's really good gear.
Okay.
I have a question. I wear my yellow banana suit proudly. It represents for me my pre-VC status. And now people who get rated Battlegrounds can now get my yellow banana suit. Is there anything that you can add to distinguish vanilla players?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was a thing we opened up hoping to, help be another reward for rated Battlegrounds, but definitely understand that, it offended a lot of vanilla players and that we don't maybe do enough to kind of protect and add, make whole things sacred that happened way in the past. It's so tempting when something is so cool to like give that stuff away in a way that people kind of offends them. I felt like at least in the rated battleground situation, it was like, well, they had to earn it, they had to do something. But yeah, I understand people are, maybe there's something we can do. You can tell me your ideas, Swifty. I want you how you maybe we could give you like a giant vanilla ice cream cone mace.
Yes!
And that could be the thing that really stands out for the vanilla player, or maybe a vanilla cone tabard.
I don't think you want to go down this road, Brian.
Oh yeah.
No promises.
We have had this goal for a while that it would be really cool to see a player and be like, wow, that guy's been around since BC or LK, and it can't be like inspect him and look at his achievements. It has to almost be something you notice right away.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that is yet, but it's a really cool goal, and it's something we're trying to figure out.
Wow.
Okay, so
Okay, go ahead.
So I had this question. I know that this question comes up a lot, but I was wondering if you guys think that PvE items will still be viable in the next patch, because I know right now that even though well, my arena partners still use PvE trinkets, for example, in arenas. So I was wondering if do you guys have plans to break the barrier and say, okay, we don't want PvE gear in arenas, or what do you think about it?
I think there's this distinction that needs to be made in terms of we don't want them in arenas versus the PvP one should be better. The trouble is often that the PvP one should be better. We made a change, I think in 5.0, where we felt like the game was too bursty, so we lowered the on-use trinket. For PvP, we lowered the on-use trinket's cooldown, and we lowered its magnitude, and we did the same for the on-proc trinket. We basically made it proc more often, but we lowered its magnitude. So the PvP trinkets became kind of more overall, the same sustained DPS, but less bursty. But the PvE trinkets every tier are still kind of bursty. They have really big procs, and they have they proc less often. So the changes that we made two real big changes. One change was the trinkets scaled down to 10 item levels below where the PvP trinkets are. So they're, in one sense, they're just lower eye level, and we scaled them pretty aggressively because we have some very, kind of bold, new, interesting trinkets in PvE, like with cooldown reduction and whatnot. And then rather, like in the past, what we've done with those trinkets is, in PvP, we've said, okay, they proc half or twice as much, but their duration is their magnitude is halved. This time we just said their magnitude is halved, and they still proc half as often. So the PvE trinkets have very similar procs to the PvP trinkets, but they don't have like 5% bonus damage, and they proc half as often. So there's a big trade-off there. I never get offended when, honestly, there's forums and people are debating back and forth whether the PvE trinket might be a little better, or this PvE trinket makes, if you revolve your gameplay around this trinket and do this gimmicky thing, it works. What I'm worried about is the PvP trinkets are garbage. That's the real challenge. So we made some changes there. We changed, one of the other changes we made to the PvP trinkets was there was kind of a legacy issue where they were giving, the spellcaster trinkets were proccing spell power rather than intellect, because it was really odd in the old days. Intellect was tied to your mana pool, so you would get an intellect proc and your mana pool would go up, and it was bizarre. But now it's that's not the case, so we went back from spell power to intellect.
Okay.
All right. How much time do we have? Are we good?
More time, yeah.
Yes!
Okay.
All right, because there's so many questions we want to ask, but I'm trying to choose which ones would I'm gonna prioritize one. Or I have one. Are you gonna bring skirmishes back? I miss skirmishes.
Yeah, and a lot of people talking about skirmishes. I think that we're gonna have to just call them skirmishes. I think there's a lot of nostalgia about skirmishes, but definitely agree that there was novelty in it. You could do it solo. There was no real cost to going in there and having fun and screwing around, and those things are all really good. The biggest question I have about that is more, do we need any rewards tied to it, or would rewards tied to it actually be a bad thing? Yeah. There's a lot of people who just, the only reason they used skirmishes was to check their UI out for arena, is this all set up correctly? And then they would bail. But, I think, we've talked about bringing it back, and we just haven't been able to do it yet. But we know people want it. I'll put it that way. People want it very bad.
Okay.
Awesome.
Let's see. Okay, as far as I remember, one of the goals was to increase the arena participation in this season. Has it actually increased, and if so, on what rating range on the 2K to 2200 or?
It's interesting because I would also, so yes, it has. There are more arena teams now than, well, at least on some of the battle groups I've checked, which were the bigger battle groups, there are more arena teams now than there were last season. So I think that's good. I mostly attribute it to the Conquest catch-up cap, to be honest. I think players were more willing to gear up an alt halfway through the season, and so a lot of players. I don't know if it brought in a lot of new players to Arena, but I definitely think more people tried more characters.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't play. I believe in season 12, I didn't play many alts at all, and I usually like to get a high rating with several classes at the same time because it's fun. And I didn't have enough time, I guess, to level all my alts and gear them up. So yeah.
So I think so that was good. I think it probably. I generally know that there are a lot of complaints like, well, there's nobody queuing at 2200. I really just think the problem is the bottom fell out of Arena. A lot of the players who were in the middle and lower ranges stopped playing because maybe there wasn't a PvE item for them to go grind out or something like that, and so a lot of players started kind of. The ratings actually started getting worse because of it. So, really when people want more participation and they say, add more titles or do things like this, I don't really think that's what's going to get participation up. I think what's going to get participation up is, making it easier to gear up alts for some gameplay variety and, some rewards to attract more people who are already playing World of Warcraft but not playing Arena to play Arena.
Exactly.
And that could also be just, giving people a better introduction to Arena. I mean, what's the let's say you're a person right now and you like PvE or you like World PvP and you're like, I want to go to Arena. What do I do? It can be pretty rough going in there. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a question. This is a question I'm just super curious about the server Darkspear. Because we have a lot of people that come to the server and the server doesn't crash. A lot of people come visit us. There's a lot of YouTubers on Darkspear, and the same goes for EU Stormscale. Are those servers super servers?
I don't honestly know, but I would imagine I don't really know. I would imagine that if we have servers that really need more attention than other servers, then we'd probably focus upgrades on them, but I have no idea.
I thought that server was just super upgraded.
It's actually, if you go in there and you look in the server room, it's got these two massive biceps off the side of it, cape.
And it just starts yelling at you angrily when you come in.
Get out of here, I'm working out.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I do have another question. Has there been enough testing on the 5.4 PTR? I saw that the European and North American community managers were promoting arena events in order to make the queue time shorter, and there was a lot of posts saying log in at this time in queue against the devs or whatever. Did you guys get enough data, or was the participation higher than before?
I think the participation was higher than before. I was a little disappointed. I know we aligned with a number of streamers to get on there, and a lot of them didn't for whatever reason. I don't know why. I think it was a good first attempt at that. I definitely see us doing things like that again in the future. I think the feedback has been pretty good. The challenge was also that knowing that damage tuning was coming down the pipe, I knew we might have to adjust battle fatigue and resilience, but I kind of didn't want to do that until I knew where damage was going, whether overall damage was too high or overall damage was too low from a PvE tuning standpoint. So it was rough that we did it really early, just so we still had enough time to make changes. And I think we got some good results from it, and it's definitely something we'll do more of in the future.
We're kind of in this weird place where a lot of players respond to patch notes themselves, but they don't actually get on the PTR to try out the changes. So a lot of it's kind of anecdotal, or I imagine this is what it feels like, but they don't actually try it out.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Did I ask about the speed of the weapons? Did I ask that question?
No, you didn't.
No.
Oh, good. All right. I love weapons, and I love slow weapons. Will you guys be bringing back slow weapons? 3.8 to 4.0 speed.
Oh, really slow speed weapons.
Yeah.
Like the problem with weapon speed is it's cool when you get a weapon that's like perfectly optimized because it has a slow speed. It's not cool when like a decimal change in the weapon speed trumps 10 item levels or something like that, which has happened in the past. That just makes it's kind of archaic for players to understand that, well, item level is usually a signifier of a more powerful item, except when the weapon speed is very different or something like that. So it's a cool feature as long as it's not too hidden and kind of too arcane.
Because I noticed all the weapons are 3.6 now. I can't find. I search for them. I've been searching for them. There's like one weapon. It's like at level 85. It's that appears in the auction house. I forgot the name of it. But I think that's like 3.8, 4.0. Yeah.
I know the item designers feel a little burned from like once they make a super slow weapon, no one wants anything else, and everything else is garbage.
Yeah, I see.
3.8 or something like that. But it is a cool way to distinguish weapons, and we need more ways to, distinguish our armor and weapons from each other. So it's something we'd like to investigate more in the future.
Nice.
Okay, and okay, as long as there's enough time, I'll ask a couple more questions. I don't know how much time we have.
Yeah, just let us know.
Let's do maybe like another
12, 13.
What? Yeah, like another 30 to 35 questions. No, maybe like a couple more.
All right.
And if we could stop by like 4:15, that'd be awesome.
Okay, awesome.
We'll talk fast.
So I read in the PP blog that there's not going to be any North American or European regionals for the qualification phase, and there's going to be for Taiwan, Korea, and I don't know if it's China. I think I don't remember. Do you guys have any information, or do you guys have any reasoning behind it, or?
Not much more than what the blog said. One thing to keep in mind is that there are no tournament arena realms in Asia, Korea, or Taiwan. So that's why they're having those. But basically, all we really have to say is that we're listening to what the esports community is saying about this. The really serious players, what they're saying, their concerns, what they're unhappy with about things that are going on now, and we're having a lot of discussions about that. But the plan, as we released in the blog, is what we're going forward with.
Okay.
All right.
I hear Hildy in the background.
I have a question. Oh, this was asked by Carlos R. Perez Mendez, and I'm curious about this too. What do you guys think about multi-boxers, especially the 40-man multi-boxers?
Greg, you're all over this one, I think.
40 man is awesome. We actually run into situations like this all the time where something is fun for an individual, and we're cool with that until it starts being not fun for a lot of other people. So it's cool when you have like the guy with his 5 Moonkin, Soul of the Forest, whatever thing going on, until you run into like legitimate arenas and you keep hitting this guy and losing all the time because you have no chance to combat his 5-link computers. So it's like your fun is important up until the point where it's impacting other people's fun, and then we kind of have to step in and say, it's not really cool that you're making everybody else's life miserable in order for you to kind of sit behind your keyboard and giggle.
But you put up with it for now, right?
It's not. We don't have a policy saying that multi-boxing is evil and those people are crossing the line or anything, as long as they're not ruining the experience for others.
Okay, look at the number of hits you got on that video. Do you really want us to take?
Oh! Oh, no, yeah. I like destroying multi-boxers. It's a lot of fun.
They're pretty fun to kill.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I guess like one last question from my part, and it's, do you guys have any idea on how future tournaments will work, since the 3v3 kind of concept is getting sort of torn apart, or like since it's like individual queues, or do you guys are still working out? Like, I mean, it's kind of a new system, so I'm not sure.
I don't know if I understand. Do you mean like the tournament arena realm, or do you?
The tournament realm, yeah.
No, I think we're kind of we're at a discussion point right now, a conversation point about this stuff. No real plans or anything to really say right now about it.
Okay. John, do you have any final questions?
Oh, I got one or two questions left, but no, I can ask one more.
Yeah.
Arzab, he's from our live stream, Arzab, and he wants to know, do you think any classes need a rework for PvP soon?
I think I don't know about complete rework. I think one of the situations we get into is the pure DPS classes are a real challenge in PvP because everybody wants all three of them to work out and play different and all be equally viable, and that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Like things like mages, for instance, being arcane, fire, and frost. They all have some, fairly different benefits, and people, maybe they just have always been playing frost, and until they have some reason why they would, like if frost is just garbage, that's what it would take for them to leave frost. But for instance, holy, like priests, for instance, they, a lot of people were only playing disc, and for a long time, and then I think somebody really kind of started playing holy and doing well with it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You have a lot of holy priests playing the game right now, so it's actually pretty funny how that works. And I think until so it's good to see that a spec that wasn't getting a lot of love is getting it. What's things like, let's say, paladins, druids, where they have both a range DPS, melee DPS, and healer. It's the challenge there is just we have to give them a kit that kind of sets them apart. And also make them really good in terms of their damage, whether ranged and, but as a healer, they don't become overpowered because they have all these DPS tools and things like that. So I don't know about complete rework. I think
it's a question I throw back to the community a lot is, do you want to see a game where there are 34 specs in PvP and you have to kind of learn every single CC chain and every single dispel that all of these have? Or is the game better if there's fewer specs and we can focus on balancing those and making a good experience? I don't think there's a right answer. It's just kind of getting feedback from what players think is a good experience, what we think is a good experience, and iterating on that.
That makes sense. You had it?
Oh,
you got any?
I think Swifty, Swifty, you forgot about asking them. Is the Swifty NPC?
Oh yeah, there's a Swifty NPC in
There's a
in
Swifty
the
NPC
temple.
where? What?
In the temple.
Oh, they don't know about.
They don't know about my Swifty NPC.
Is there a John Swift? There's a John Swift.
No. It's a Swifty NPC. It's a monk reading a book in the temple.
Oh, is it you?
Is it me?
Oh yeah, a little monk. Look at that little monk.
Oh!
I'll let you know. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
It says, hey, Wildhead comments say it's named after you, so I guess so.
Oh, okay. There we
Wildhead
go.
named it after you.
Really?
I'll let you know, but I mean, I don't know how many other Swifties.
It's in the
there
shrine. It's in the shrine.
That's what I kept
Swifty.
telling them.
I know there's a
Does
Swift
it,
in.
Does it periodically get up and blow all its cooldowns at once?
It will soon. No.
Yeah.
Oh
Right,
my
Is
god.
that book just a book of macros?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right,
Wow,
guys. I
thank
think
you.
I need to let the developers go get back
Yes.
to work.
All right.
Thank you so.
I want to thank you guys for all the hard work you put into the game, and you're always struggling to balance the classes in PvP. It was amazing having you on our live stream, and I want to thank you, Brian Holinka and Greg Street, Ghostcrawler.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much for
having
taking the time and come and answering our question for this coming patch.
And
We'd
Zarhem
love
too.
to.
Thank you.
You guys add so much to the game as well. It's some small way we can help give back. So we appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. We really appreciate you live streaming it and everything. It's pretty awesome.
Dude, this is amazing. I can't even believe it. I still can't believe it. This is awesome.
You forgot us to tell the story about
Oh!
where you and
Wait,
yourself to go.
we
like,
went-
Greg and you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a tour. They gave us a tour in the Blizzard offices, and they gave us a tour, and we went through the office, your office, Greg, and they introduced us. We shook hands, but I didn't realize you were Ghostcrawler at the time. And then when we left,
that's funny. I knew who you were.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Apparently, you don't remember who Zarm is either, because I was the one that gave you that tour.
Yeah. You gave me that tour. Okay.
Yep. That was with you and Athene, and yeah, I was on the whole tour.
When we left the office, Athene was like, "Do you know who that was back there? That was Ghostcrawler." And I was like, "Oh no!"
He looks so much more handsome in real life. I was surprised.
Hey, we're looking forward to the tour this year.
Yeah, for sure. You guys will be out here?
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Heck yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, thank you.
No
thank
problem.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Anytime. You guys take care.
All right.
You too.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, amazing. What an interview. Let me get Hodded back in here. Call on hold. Come on, Hodded, answer. Nice interview. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was awesome. I don't know how to unmute this, Hodded. Oh, recall. Wow, Hodded, that was amazing.
Oh, that was so fun.
Wow. Yeah, it was Zarham. Now I remember.
That is so funny. It's like, oh, by the way, I gave you the interview, and it's like, oof.
Yeah, no, he gave me the tour. He gave me and Athene the tour. Oh my God. Oh. Wow, that was an amazing tour, by the way. It was everything was NDA, and but we weren't allowed to record or inside like in certain rooms. But they gave us a tour of everything. We saw the offices. I think I'm allowed to say, if you work in the Blizzard offices, is like one of the best places to work. You're creating video games. It's the best place, Hodded.
Oh yeah, you have it's like a dream job. You have like a gym. You have like I don't know, like I saw your videos and like the tours that they give, and like
it's amazing.
They just
man.
like the huge headquarter thing.
They don't call it the Blizzard offices. They call it the campus. And for the people who work there for I think it's 5 years, you get an item. It's a piece of armor. And it's a badass piece of armor. It's like a shield. I think you get a sword. For the people who've been there the most, they get like I'm not sure if it's a helmet. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was an awesome interview. I'm super excited. Super excited.